Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and welcome back to the House. And I'm sorry to see you having to be put to so much work so quickly. So welcome back to honourable colleagues and their return from summer recess. Mr. Speaker, it's an honour to be the lead speaker on C-300 on the opening of this parliamentary session. Ironically, as I said earlier, this bill has spent a lot of time in committee, some 13 months in committee. And over that time, the arguments in favour of the bill, I think, have actually become stronger. I hadn't in my wildest imagination ever have thought that this bill would attract so much attention. Certainly I hadn't anticipated it would attract so much international attention. People are literally flying in from around the world to support C-300 and are encouraging my colleagues to get behind this bill and do something for the world's poor, the world's indigenous, and the world's people who cannot speak for themselves. They are literally taking their own time and they're spending their own resources to lobby colleagues in order to be able to encourage them to support this bill. So why would that be, Madam Speaker? Why would people spend their time and their resources and have all of the international attention and domestic attention on what is ultimately quite a modest bill? Well, Madam Speaker, my view of it is that it is due to Canada's reputation as a fair-minded democracy which adheres to the rule of law and where aggrieved persons can actually come and expect to receive redress. That may or may not be true in some of the countries from which these folks are coming. I also believe that this bill has received so much attention, Madam Speaker, because of the increasingly negative reputation of Canadian mining companies operating abroad, who do things to people and communities which would never, ever be tolerated in this country. I could literally take you on a world tour, Madam Speaker. Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Papua New Guinea, Tanzania, Congo. All of these countries have enormous conflicts with Canadian mining companies. And the allegations which are put forward by these against these Canadian mining companies are serious and very serious indeed, Madam Speaker, as witness after witness after witness came before our committee and made these allegations. Madam Speaker, it's never a good day for Canada when our own Governor General is surrounded by 200 Mexicans chanting "Canada go home" because of the activities of a Canadian mining company operating in that country. It's not a good day when, as a witness described, he was chased out of a village because the villagers thought he was a Canadian supporting a Canadian mining company, and he deemed it appropriate to take the flag that was on his backpack and black it out. It's not a good day for our reputation, Madam Speaker. It's not a good day when one of the people who was moderating a debate I was involved in said that she'd recently been in Guatemala, and people would naturally ask her where she's from, and she would say, "I'm from Canada." And they would say, "Well, in Guatemala, it's better that you describe yourself as being from America." Ironically, Mr. Speaker, this is one of the great objections that the industry puts forward to the bill, that it will cause reputational damage. Reputational damage, Madam Speaker. Reputational damage to whom? Is it reputational damage to Canada, or is it to the country? We already know that a lot of activities of Canadian mining companies destabilize governments, put other Canadian companies at risk, and put Canadians traveling abroad at risk. So why the objection to reputational risk? Why the fear of a quasi-judicial process where the impartial laws of natural justice actually prevail in a hearing? Why indeed, Madam Speaker? It's hugely ironic to me that at the same time they're complaining about the process, they already say they adhere to the IFC standards that are set out in the bill itself. So they don't want to have a process to find out whether they're actually adhering to the IFC standards, but because they already say they're already adhering to them. Seems a bit of an ironic argument, Madam Speaker. Possibly, though, Madam Speaker, the real reason that the objection is so vociferous on the part of the companies and the government is that there possibly really is something to be hidden. Possibly the allegations in the aforementioned countries are possibly true. You know, sometimes, Madam Speaker, where there's smoke, there's just smoke. But sometimes, Madam Speaker, where there's smoke, there is actual fire. where witness after witness after witness, were they really telling the truth about murder and rape and environmental degradation and officials being bought and paid for and paramilitaries enforcing the so-called companies' right? With all those witnesses, is that just smoke and mirrors, Madam Speaker? But maybe just possibly there is some truth. And the companies don't want anyone, let alone a government official, let alone a minister of the Crown, let alone the people of Canada, actually taking evidence, having a look, listening to arguments, and making a finding, one way or another, good or bad. Not only do the companies not want anything resembling a fair and impartial inquiry, they don't want any sanctions. They want to exist in a sanction-free environment. They say the sanctions are too draconian. So what are the sanctions, Madam Speaker? The sanctions are that you won't get support from the Canada Export Development Corporation of Canada. You won't get support from the Canada Pension Plan. Canada Pension Plan won't be allowed to buy your shares on the stock exchange. And you won't get consular support, Madam Speaker. You won't get the promotional activities that our consul generals provide right around the world to Canadians operating abroad. So in other words, Madam Speaker, no taxpayers' money, no pensioners' money, and no parties. Well, Madam Speaker, that's three rather modest teeth, and I'm proposing actually pulling half a tooth on this, on one of these amendments, Madam Speaker, because we took the view of the Canada Pension Plan that there would be a requirement to amend the Canada Pension Plan, which would require provincial consent. And my thought was, well, if in fact the Minister of Finance can't get his own provincial counterparts to make much needed amendments to the Canada Pension Plan, then what hope did I have of getting amendments as well? So we've modified that bill, modified that objection somewhat, Madam Speaker. Then there's the full argument about extraterritoriality. This is just plain nonsense. This bill is about accountability for taxpayers' hard-earned money and how it's used, not where it's used. Like foreign aid, Canada has expectations and the absolute right to withdraw its money at any time, at any place. So also does EDC, so also does Canada Pension Plan. Canada retains the right to invest abroad, not based upon its own sets of laws and guidelines. It has the right to invest, and it also has the right to divest. The other amendment of significance is that we're proposing is an amendment whereby the company will be given a period of time to rectify its non-compliance. Notwithstanding what the government, what the companies say, and it's handmade in the government, I would much prefer compliance with. I much prefer compliance over non-compliance. I prefer honourable and responsible mining over no mining at all. So there were the objections, Madam Speaker. It's too draconian, they'll hurt our reputation, and we'll leave Canada in droves. Really, Madam Speaker, to go where? To go to the United States, the most litigious nation on earth? To go where the Alien Torts Act is? To go where Senator Lugar's bill is, which now requires that Canadian mining companies wishing to list their shares on the New York Stock Exchange have to visit the department and tell the department how much money they're giving governments, how much money they're giving government officials. It's an attempt at accountability and transparency which speaks well for our American friends. It doesn't speak well for us. Where are they going to go? Great Britain? Well, there's another great place, Madam Speaker. They're actually proposing a more robust version of C-300. European Union has got a very, very high standards of corporate social responsibility. I doubt they're going to Russia. I doubt they're going to China. Possibly the only place they might be going to, Madam Speaker, is Switzerland. And when you go to Switzerland, you generally want to hide something. But, you know, if you're going to go to Switzerland, fine, Lord love you, but you're not going to take Canadian taxpayers' money, you're not going to take Canadian pensioners' money with you. So, Madam Speaker, this really is a modest bill. It's run into a virtuous tsunami of objections from the industry and the government. The government members face a clear and overwhelming testimony have chosen to turn their backs on the poor, the helpless, and the Aboriginal. By voting against this bill, they embrace the status quo. If this bill doesn't pass, we will have failed vulnerable people and struggling democracies. We will be diminished in the eyes of the world. We will erode our credibility to speak in international forum. We will be smaller in every way. Thank you, Madam Speaker.